Millions of people in the path of Hurricane Melissa are bracing for catastrophic weather right now as the Category 5 storm moves in slowly over Jamaica. Officials there are reporting 3 storm-related deaths before it even makes landfall. We can show you now live pictures of the coastline in Kingston. That's Jamaica's capital city. The storm is expected to hit land there within the next hour, and you can see just how saturated the streets are already. More rain is on the way as the outer bands of the storm just whip the island. Forecasters are predicting historic devastation. CBS News' Bradley Blackburn continues to cover this. He joins me here in studio with the latest. Good morning, Bradley. It is serious.
Errol, it is serious. Good morning to you. One of the biggest concerns is that Melissa is moving so slowly. This morning, crawling along at just 2 miles an hour. And that means the worst of this storm could linger over the island. And whenever that happens, Jamaica is facing the threat of enormous damage.
Millions in Jamaica are bracing for monster Hurricane Melissa, bringing the threat of forceful winds, catastrophic flooding, and deadly landslides.
She's slow and she's wide, so all areas of the island are expected to feel some impact.
Jamaica's Red Cross has set up shelters around the island.
We have been disseminating drinking water, cleaning kits, hygiene kits.
Ahead of the storm, local business owners boarded up doors and windows and piled sandbags.
We are just praying for the less worst to happen.
Stranded tourists are hunkering down in hotels.
We just came to have a good time, and now we're kind of stuck here.
That includes St. Louis hairdresser Marnice Stewart, who's riding out her first hurricane at a Montego Bay resort.
They've been giving us care packages that have like cups of noodles, tuna sandwiches. Continue to pray for Jamaica.
In southern Florida, home to the second largest Jamaican American population in the U.S., volunteers packed boxes of food, water, and other supplies in hopes of getting vital aid to the island nation as soon as it's safe to do so.
I have a lot of family back home in Jamaica that will potentially be impacted by this. We're really nervous for them, but we're very hopeful.
The strongest storm of the year is also expected to slam Cuba and parts of the Bahamas sometime between today and tomorrow.
And this morning in Jamaica, there are already reports of power outages and downed trees. The National Hurricane Center is also warning total structural failure is possible in some places within the eye wall of this storm. So, Errol, the next few hours are going to be critical.
Let's begin in the Caribbean, where Hurricane Melissa is set to make landfall in Jamaica at any moment now. The Category 5 is now the strongest to lash the island in recorded history, with maximum sustained winds of 180 miles per hour. Weather forecasters are warning of life-threatening storm surges, and the Prime Minister of Jamaica says there's, quote, no infrastructure in the region that can withstand a Category 5 storm. CBS News correspondent Jason Allen is joining me live now from Kingston, Jamaica, to talk more about this. Jason, so describe the conditions that have changed over the course of the last few hours since you first appeared on CBS News 24/7.
Yeah, good morning, Vlad. Conditions are changing really hour to hour right now. When we got up this morning, heavy winds, strong rain, and you can see right now we don't even have the hoods up because we don't need it. The rain has stopped. You can even see the mountains here in the background where they surround Kingston. So we're getting a little bit of a break in the rain. The strongest bands have moved through on the outer bands. Now the question is, depending on exactly the direction that the storm takes, which is still about 100 miles or so off to our southwest, how much of those strong bands immediately around the center of the storm roll into Kingston and how much of that rain really falls in the mountains. That's what we'll be watching for over the next several hours.
So, Jason, what kind of preparations are people making when the Prime Minister of Jamaica says that there is no infrastructure on the island that can withstand a Category 5 storm? How are people going to prepare for this?
Yeah, and to put that into perspective, Vlad, I read that and saw his comments, and I thought there are not many places, not much infrastructure in the U.S. that is built to withstand that. Maybe up to a 3, but a 5 is really questionable. And in a lot of places here, you could see in the homes that are on the hillside, right? A lot of those are very strong, sturdy buildings. And still, we saw people who are coming down into the city to stay in hotels here. And then in the areas around the city, a lot of these neighborhoods, some of these are just board homes. But people felt like they wanted to stay there because they wanted to protect their belongings. Now, in the really, really low-lying areas that flood regularly, not just when there is a hurricane, the government has said, well, let's say that they have affected the evacuation to have them go into the hundreds of shelters that are set up. But a lot of people are staying in their homes. They feel that they've made it through past storms, and they feel that they'll make it through this one.
All right, here's hoping. Jason Allen, you stay safe, you and your crew as well, my friend. We'll talk to you a little bit later. Thanks so much. Let's bring in Dr. Kevin Brown. He is the president of the University of Technology in Jamaica. Doctor, just how are you holding up there? How are people in your community feeling about this impending storm?
Hi, good morning. Yes, well, we've been anticipating the arrival of Melissa since last week, actually, but it slowed down. So it didn't arrive until now, and it has certainly made landfall. We've been trying to make the best preparations that we can on campus. The University of Technology is the second largest university in Jamaica. We have 12,000 students, 1,200 staff, and we've been working remotely since last week, Wednesday. So most staff and students are at home, but I still have 200 students who are currently on the campus riding out the storm. And since last night, Melissa made landfall, and it's been very rainy and extremely windy. And I was on campus last night, and we'd already started to see the impact with tree branches on the ground and so on. So it's really picked up.
So what is the most concerning for you, the faculty and the students at the university, given that this storm is the strongest? I mean, no doubt, obviously, you're used to hurricanes in Jamaica, but a Category 5 is something that many are not used to. So what is your biggest concern?
That is so true because, I'm old enough to recall Hurricane Gilbert in 1988. I was a child when Gilbert hit, and it was devastating. I remember my next door neighbor lost her entire roof, and a lot of houses were devastated by Hurricane Gilbert. I believe Jamaica is in a much better situation now. The way we construct our homes has improved, and there's a lot more hurricane resilience that's built in across the infrastructure of the country. And for me, my primary worry is really for the students who are on campus now, because we have around 200 students who decided to remain on the campus. They're in the halls of residence. We have an auditorium where some are also staying. Some of the halls have backup power, but I certainly lost electric power last night. I'm now operating from a backup generator. We do have some backup generators on campus, but not all the buildings have coverage. So there are some challenges, I'm sure, that the students will face. And as soon as things settle down, I'll be eager to get back on campus to ensure that they have food, because that's going to be the key thing, ensuring that they have food supplies, because pretty much all shops in Jamaica are shut at the moment.
Yeah, and we should point out to our viewers, Kevin, that we lost your picture, but we still have your voice, and we're grateful for that. I'm hoping you, your faculty, students, and your family stay safe in the wake of this impending storm. Dr. Kevin Brown, thank you very, very much. Please stay safe. So earlier on CBS Mornings, Roxanne Hutchinson, a surveillance operator for the Ministry of National Security in Jamaica, discussed the impact she's already seeing. Watch.
We lost power from 5 a.m. this morning local time. It's been raining non-stop all night. It hasn't picked up wind speed just yet, but it's extremely dark and it's extremely cloudy and very scary outside. What are we most concerned about right now in the Black River space really is the flooding, because we're along the shoreline, and as a lot of these areas in the Black River space has already started flooding.
She also says one of the biggest struggles is to get people who don't want to leave their homes to go into storm shelters. So we're going to obviously keep a track of the storm, and let's bring in CBS News Philadelphia meteorologist Andrew Kosak with a look at that forecast. So Andrew, what do we know?
Oh, Vlad, you were saying this is potentially the strongest hurricane ever to hit Jamaica. Looking at the news stats, this is potentially one of the strongest hurricanes to ever hit land anywhere, with winds of 185 miles per hour, the gusts 215 miles per hour. In fact, the reconnaissance flights, they had to leave mid-flight yesterday because the turbulence was so incredible within the eye of this, or right on the walls of the eye of this storm. Right now it is moving north-northeast at around 7 miles per hour, and it is likely to make landfall here within the next hour to hour and a half. So take a look. There it is right now, as we see it moving toward Jamaica. Beyond that, we're going to be talking about Cuba and the Bahamas. Could be hitting Cuba as a strong Category 4 hurricane within the next 24 hours once it passes Jamaica. The Bahamas, potentially a 4 or a 3, but the Bahamas are very flat, unlike Jamaica, which has mountains. That could help to slow it down or even weaken it slightly. So our concern will start to shift after Jamaica to those islands as well. No threat, by the way, to the United States right now. We are continuing to watch this, though, be a huge problem across the Caribbean. Of course, the eye replacement cycle is the reason why this thing has also been extremely, extremely intense. You have the eye wall, and the rain bands around it, and sometimes the eye in a way replaces itself, and that just becomes stronger. It helps to re-intensify the storm, and that's what we're seeing today. So take a look at the very almost perfect circle here right now, almost ready to make landfall. Where my finger is where the land is. This is the eye wall. We're talking within the next hour or so. Winds right around that eye wall, 185 miles per hour. Rainfall up to 30 inches expected for much of the area, including, by the way, Cuba and even portions of Haiti. Beyond that, some areas up to 40 inches of rain possible. This thing will continue to make a beeline for Cuba and the Bahamas and eventually go out to sea. Vlad, this is an extremely dangerous situation. Wording on this from the National Hurricane Center, unlike anything we have ever seen.